Dodgers analyst Jose Mota joins the show to talk about Roki Sasaki's start, Shohei Ohtani's first bump day of this season, also unveiling a gift that he got, a well-deserved World Series ring. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live. Nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball.
Los Angeles wins it 3-1.
The Dodgers are ruining baseball. Let's get 4 more wins and really ruin baseball.
Oh my goodness! Shohei Ohtani! Wow! Here's the 0-2 pitch. Bounces one up the middle. Hits to the back. Over to first to beat the champ. The Dodgers stand tall and win back-to-back titles.
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
Live from the heart of Los Angeles, this is Dodgers Dugout Live with your host, Doug McKain.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, drop a like, drop a comment. And we've got one of our favorite guests on our show today. You love him, your favorite Sportsnet, also Dodgers radio broadcaster, play-by-play, Jose Mota joins the show. Really, Dodgers family, Dodgers royalty. I can't wait. I got to see the ring. I got to see the ring.
You gotta see it?
I saw Fred. Look at that ring. Okay, where's my sunglasses? Unbelievable ring. And
wait, that's one.
Okay, now he's flexing.
Two.
Now he's flexing.
There's two.
He's got the double. And so that was the 24 and 25, right? First one's 25.
25 was first. We got it yesterday with the employees. Great ceremony once again. And the Dodgers do things the right way, the first-class way. And every single employee got appreciate it. I mean, players speaking to the employees saying how important they are. But you know what? Mainly, Doug, we are so blessed to be in the right place at the right time, and that will never take for granted, ever.
Absolutely. I mean, just to cover this team and you work for this team, just to be around this team, just experiencing the run that they're on, the great players, the great moments, the ring represents a lot. What does that ring just kind of represent to you, though? This one specifically, the 2025 World Series title, Jose.
This one's, to me, even more special because, remember, the target was on the Dodgers. Oh, you guys are spending all this money. Checkbook baseball. We heard that expression one time. We'll see if it works. They get off to an 8-0 start. Then it's like, there it is. The world's crumbling. And the whole time you're thinking this team is way too talented. A couple of months there was nothing going on the right way. I mean, they're underwater for a couple of months, and they never wavered. So to me, it means a team that was so resilient to not listen to anybody else but what they believe in the clubhouse, and to have a leader like Dave Roberts who stayed consistent throughout with the message, knowing that the talent was there. Injuries, absences, trades, no trades. I mean, for many people clamoring to go get this player. Why not this player? You got Alex Hall. Then it's like, you know what? There it is once again. The guys on the field got it done. And as Dave Roberts tells guys in spring training, Doug, I'll need every single one of you to be present because you just never know that moment's going to come. Look what happens with Miggy Rojas, with Kike, with Tommy Edman, and guys like Justin Dean. Go figure, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was just an incredible run. When you look at that ring, you see that whole month of October, really the whole season just kind of flash through your mind, and you think of the moments, the Miguel Rojas, the Will Smith, the Miguel Rojas defensive play, the double play in Game 6, the Andy Pages catch, the Shohei 3-homer, 10 strikeout game. Do you, Jose, though, have a favorite moment from the 2025 World Series run?
It's hard to ignore Miggy because as big as Will Smith's home run was, Miguel Rojas was not playing throughout October, playing sporadically. He knew his role, but he always stayed ready. So without Miguel's home run, nothing else happens. And I'll have to stick with that one because obviously the one nobody expected, 1 out down in the 9th inning. And for Miggy to be the guy that hit the home run to keep it alive, it was marvelous. I mean, among many others, but also, Doug, when I talk about rings and championships and the fact that we did nothing to earn these, we just had to be calling games. I also want to recall the alumni and the players that set the path for the Dodgers way back in Brooklyn to be an organization where expectations are high, where you don't come to compete, you come to win, and there's never an excuse about anything else. Consider a team that had opened the season in Korea, had opened the season in Japan, and nobody ever said a word about it, but just saying, this is what we have. Mookie Betts lost 18 to 20 pounds, and all the other things that went against them. I just tip my hat to that culture, that clubhouse, and to the leadership, to the resources, and to the fans. I mean, 4 million strong. Consider just the energy these players get when they get home and there's 45, 50,000 people waiting for them when you might be a little worn out or tired or in a going through a bad stretch yourself as a team. Then there's the fans. All of you deserve a ring.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the entire Dodgers universe. And you know these players, they play for the name on the front. And they play for the 50,000 strong. They play for the legends before them. I absolutely feel that way as well. And I think that when Miguel Rojas does what was your favorite moment and digs deep right there and hits what I've dubbed the most important home run in Dodgers franchise history, even higher than Gibby's, even higher than Freddie's, because I think it's the swing that saved a dynasty. It's really cool that it happened for a guy like that. Dave Roberts talked about baseball has a way of rewarding players, and he certainly feels like he was one of those guys that was rewarded for that hobby. Where that was Miguel Rojas specifically that gets to have that to look back on for his career.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for a guy that has said, hey, next year is going to be my last year, to be in that moment, to be ready, to be prepared, and also to be a good teammate. Even through the times when he was not playing, he was the same Miguel Rojas, the guy that loves celebrations and the guy that appreciates and really makes the smaller moments like a series win, somebody's first hit, a great play, a great outing, meaningful in the clubhouse. So the guys know and appreciate when he came through, it was even bigger for him than it had been for anybody else in those celebrations inside that clubhouse.
Unbelievable stuff. And the good thing is this team is still hungry. They still want more moments like that this season. And I think one guy that was a contributor to that run, but it was out of the bullpen, is Roki Sasaki. Last night, Roki battled. He showed that, hey, I can be resilient. I don't have to have a meltdown. I think yesterday, it was a step in the right direction for Roki. 4+ innings, gives up the run. He showed that improvement of that cutter. But Jose, what did you see from Roki last night that really stood out?
He was focused on hitting one thing, hitting the target. And I'm not even going to say so much about strike one, but more, how did he get back into counts? And the biggest implementation to me, Doug, was use the fastball. There's many variances of your fastball that you have to go to. And I know that talking to Dave Roberts after his outing against the Angels when he just walked the yard and allowed 5 runs and only completed 2 innings, they're going to simplify things for him. He cannot get too technical with a guy that is trying to absorb so much information, but you got to simplify it for him. I even talked to the coaches back in Japan during WBC last month where we're talking about, hey, I'm asking, like, what makes this guy tick? I mean, he was the sensation, the young stud in Japan. And they said, whenever you see his face like that, he is just trying to process too much information. Keep it simple. And I think the Dodgers have done due diligence in his background and understanding what really clicked for him going back to last season and all the things he had to go through, from not being active to perhaps thinking after May he was done for the season, the injury, the adjustments, and all those things. But they also knew there's a kid there that wants to prove something. And to me, last night is a big step. It's not a huge step, but it's a big step in the right direction as to what he can become. A guy that is not chasing strikeouts, but knows that it's there, right? But also to throw 22 cutters like that and trust it and throw overall out of 78 pitches, 60 fastballs, it's an indication that everything is based off of that pitch, and everything else that comes, either the slide that it needs to get a little bit better with and the splitter forkball, it's going to be based off of that. So good for him to use it, because with a cutter also comes that sinker where he's going to get ground balls and stay in games a little bit longer. But nonetheless, he was able to fill the zone when he needed to.
And that's what Don Rushing said to us after the game, was that, hey, they were trying to get in the zone as quickly as possible. And as good as that splitter is, you need the fastball to really play off of it. So it looked like that cutter, though, was kind of the big shocking development. I mean, he's throwing in a 3-2 count and he's getting a strikeout with it. I mean, just the confidence that he has to say, hey, I'm just going to let it rip. Do you kind of get the sense that he's beyond that, hey, I'm going to focus on mechanics, like Dave Roberts was saying, and just I'm going to go out there and compete and attack hitters? Did you get that sense last night from Roki, Jose?
I did, and I got that sense from Dave Roberts, as I mentioned, right after the outing against the Angels, where it's like, we got to just go out there and tell this guy. In fact, now that you mentioned Dalton Rushing, tell our catchers, sometimes to be a little more active and even display something earlier for him that he says, hey, it's all right here. I don't care where you throw, how hard you throw it. Trust that when it leaves your hand, it's going to land in a very good spot. And he pitched against a team like the Guardians that had trouble hitting the fastball up in Seattle. And all that was put into play yesterday by rushing in the game plan, implemented quite well. But if he's wild and if he's not getting back into strike counts after missing 1-0 or 2-0, he's not that successful. It was the ability to know that whatever he had, it was not about tricking hitters. It's about pacing yourself. He also had a very good tempo. Watching the glove, getting to work, and repeating the mechanics to me was one of the best outings I've seen in a long time from Roki last night.
And that big moment there where he strikes out Jose Ramirez with the splitter, and then the Manzardo was kind of hot off the bat, but it goes into Kyle Tucker's glove. How much you think, just even though it's not always pretty, I mean, some hard contact, kind of working away some stuff, you just need to see the results and what that can do for his confidence and his psyche, and how important do you think it is for him to have that to take the next step? It's just from the mental side, knowing, hey, I can have success as a starter at the big league level, and I've seen it.
So let's turn that around to a hitter. If it's a blooper and you go 3 for 4, you got a couple of bloopers, you're thinking about hits. You're not thinking about how I hit it, right? For a pitcher, same thing. Outs are outs. And we need to stop overanalyzing these things sometimes and say, hey, it was an out. They had the proper guy aligned in position where he needed to be. It was good contact, but nonetheless, he was able to go out there and throw a strike. And even though it was barreled, guess what? At times you're going to be beaten by the jam shot beating you, but he was able to say, you know what, go ahead and make contact. I trust my defense. And that is one key too here, Doug. Trusting the people behind you. The Dodgers for years now have been known as a team that perhaps not going to blow you away with the defensive metrics in many ways, but in terms of positioning, catching the baseball, and not allowing the opponent to build off your bad defense, they've done a very good job from the inside, from the offense to the metrics to the numbers, but mainly from the guys doing the work, the players and the coaches before the game and during the game, making those adjustments.
And Kirsch talks about that. The great ones can make those edits in the game like Yamamoto's able to do. Last thought on Roki, what's the next thing you want to see for him to kind of just keep taking those steps forward?
I want to see him to stay consistent with his mechanics. That's the main thing, because from that, everything is based, and he's going to be able to use the quadrants now. When you use a cut fastball against righties, and he's going, well, is that really a slider or a cutter? Now you have him thinking. Now you have something going, east-west, west-east, right? And then you have your main pitch for a strikeout or chase or just to show something in different, speed differential with your splitter, which is a tumbling one at 500, RPMs. It's ridiculous, right? But you have also, he threw a 99.5 yesterday. It's there. So, it's like that separation needs to be respected. And the thing about Ramirez, even though he did chase, you think about this, and I talked to Dave, I said about this last night. When a guy, take Kerry Wooden's punch outs in Chicago historically, right? Mark Pryor. How many of those pitches that struck out guys would have landed in the strike zone? Maybe half of them. Maybe. But you create chases in strikeouts by preparing everything well, so hitters themselves are getting themselves out by spreading the zone and chasing, because you did everything well in preparing them to be in those positions where they have to be more defensive. So he did a very good job against a very dangerous Jose Ramirez. He chased thinking that ball's going to come down back into the zone, but the tumbling action have moving up and away, and he was not able to square it.
Yeah, that's where I'm really encouraged too. He threw 58% strikes. The big league average last year is 65%, but a lot of those misses were really close. You mentioned the velo. I actually asked him about that after the game, and he said that he thinks it can go up. Do you think that's a sign that physically he's in a good spot?
I think so too. Physically, and mainly for me with Roki, is because he's so young. He's gone through so much things in his life at an early age. Mentally, if he's there and just doesn't think as much and just considers himself a horse with this team, a lot of good things are going to happen. But consistency is one thing. In between starts, what he does, he needs to simplify, trust it, and understand how to interpret all these numbers. And at some point, just say, I don't care who it is, who I'm facing. My stuff is good enough with 3 pitches. I'm going to get it done and move out of the way.
And don't forget, the first person ever mentioned Roki Sasaki and the Dodgers was Jose Mota on this very show years and years ago. By the way, Jose, a lot of people in the comments are saying bling bling. They're loving the ring. They think it's the biggest flex, and I could not agree more. So pretty awesome. Someone said, Mr. Mota, can we take a dip into your pool and wear your ring? So getting a lot of love from Dodgers Nation, Jose. Now, Switching gears to Shohei Ohtani. He's making his first start of the season tonight. It's always an event when he's on the mound. The velo has been up. We saw the big 11 strikeout game in his last tune-up. Didn't get a lot of starts in spring training. How do you think that affects him early on this season?
It will not affect him at all because Shohei was on a path to have a complete season as a pitcher from the last out of the World Series. He had in mind to know one thing: I don't have to rehab anything this offseason. I can just go out there and rest for a couple of weeks and then start preparing my body to do what I like to do, which is to be a full-time Nitorio, a two-way player, right? So in his mind, his body, everything's just squared up to do what he loves to do, which is to contribute on both sides of the baseball. And for Shohei to think about this, last out he goes 86 pitches in a preseason game. How many guys today do that when managers carefully, and I agree, are careful in making sure that last start of somebody who's like a tune-up, 5 innings, give me 5 and 7 and get ready for the regular season. Now you've lowered from 85 to 70. Now you got to amp up and start regular season. Shohei's like, my mission is to do this. And at 86 or 90 pitches on my last outing in preseason, it's indication, Doug, about 6 or 7 innings tonight are not out of the question. In fact, if he's economical early and he's dropping that curve before a strike, it should be pretty special against a team that perhaps might be looking more for the fastball today because they have trouble hitting it. But we'll see, because Shohei has so many things up his sleeve that you just never know what's going to show up.
Yeah, and Jose, he mentioned after that start in Arizona that 25 starts would be ideal per pitcher. So clearly that is his goal. What do you think, though? You mentioned that curveball. I remember last year before that game against the Reds, you're mentioning curveball, hadn't thrown curveball. All of a sudden he unleashes that curveball. It was very effective with it. What is kind of the number one pitch that's kind of might be an X factor for Shohei this season, would you say?
Slider, to me, still. I learned this from his pitching coach over in Hokkaido. Call him Johnny, and Johnny's like, Jose, splitter, fastball, 101, 102. Slider needs to play. My least favorite pitch is that sweeper. I'll be honest with you. It's a pitch that Shohei, at times when he hasn't made, or in tighter situations, is the one pitch that he can make a mistake with. And also as a pitch that has gotten him through a lot of innings itself. But going back to the World Series with Bichette, going back to last year with Buxton and Marte, I think I remember all of them because, like, no, not again. And those hitters, when they see that thing spinning at 85, 86 near their eyes, are not going to miss it. But nonetheless, as a pitch is effective when used properly. But I think the slider, to me, is the one pitch that Shohei can really put a lot of doubt in hitters, because for a righty and lefty, it's a pitch that darts in and out of the zone, and he can start it in the zone early and get some strikes. But with that, Shohei, I know, wants to use the sinker a little bit more. The two-seam fastball plays quite well to get out of an inning, as he did in the preseason game, got a double play. But the four-seamer, he averaged the highest he ever averaged in his career last year, over 98. Be ready, because I think the average could go a little bit more, because now he's stronger mechanically and also physically, coming back from that brace surgery. And now he is ready to go full bolt. As he pitches to Mike Trout, I think we're going to see it a lot more, because he's going to be challenging a lot more guys this season.
Yeah, 98.2 miles per hour average on the four seam. That's Paul Skeen's territory. You mentioned just being stronger, more years removed from the Tommy John surgery. But is there anything mechanical, do you think, that's leading to that velocity increase?
I think maturity, understanding his body, obviously the rehab work with all the time and everything that he's gone through. I mean, when you rehab, you're throwing, but also you're pulling back when you need to. And all you do is, when you're pulling back, you're strengthening everything around that area. I mean, connective tissue, you cannot increase it in terms of power or strength, but everything around it you do to make yourself better. But for any pitcher like Shohei Ohtani and the guys that have been pitching for a long time way before him, it's about the legs. Shohei uses his legs as good as anybody. If you watch him pitch mechanically, he's got this little tilt now with his front load and shoulder, where he's able to stay back a little bit longer with those legs, push up, because it's a big frame, it's a big body. I mean, it's a big arm, but certainly mechanically, he's a guy that really takes a lot of pride making sure that he not only repeats him, but he's able to vary him and adjust him in game when he needs to, Doug.
Yeah, Kyle Hurd was telling us about that at Tommy John recovery, you're working on these muscles. You're like, I didn't even know he had this muscle, and I'm working on it, so I'm feeling bigger and better and stronger. So I love to hear that, because you look at Shohei in 2022 when he had his best pitching season, 166 innings, a 2.33 ERA, averaging over 97. It feels like physically and now the mental side of Shohei, we could be getting peak Shohei as a pitcher this season.
I believe so. Because especially as I mentioned, the mindset of saying, I'm not rehabbing anything. I'm going out there to get the work done. Doug, I know that it was such a show that we kind of lost track of one thing last year. There's not that many opportunities or guys that can have the luxury, I would say, of rehabbing in the big leagues, rehabbing in games, and have a team with the resources and the talent depth to say, you know what, let's do that. But also it takes a person with special character and drive to have success, to not make it about him. Shohei would not have asked to rehab in games last year if he knew that the Dodgers were not going to be capable of backing him up by meaning we have some guys that can come behind you and win some games. It was not so much about him, but knowing, understanding the system, the organization, knowing who's around him, and understanding that also, if I am throwing this well in simulated games or live BPs, why not do it for my team when I can be building off here in front of the fans and also making myself better? Because, as you know, on rehab, the competition has a lot to it, a lot to do with it. And he understood all that. And thankfully, he is in a spot now where at some point we know very well with all these Dodger pitchers, whether it's 25 or 27 or 30 starts, if they need to be pulled back a little bit more, there's plenty of talent to say, hey, it's not all about you. You can take a start off. But certainly we know how important it is, because for the Dodgers, and I always appreciate this, you're managing not 6 months. You're always thinking 7 months in the season.
Yeah, and I think that's the most fascinating thing with the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani is you've got this superhuman, this one-of-one guy, as you said, he can rehab at the big league level while still have a 50 home run season, take it inning by inning. But I think this year he's made it as clear as Shohei Ohtani can make it, at least for someone who kind of, I think I can kind of dissect his statements to the press. It feels like he does want to make a run at the Cy Young Award. And to make a run at the Cy Young Award, you're looking at 25 to 30 starts. Do you think that this is something that he really wants to accomplish this year specifically, is winning that award, being the first Japanese player to be a Cy Young winner?
I think so. And I think it's going to create some healthy competition between his countrymen and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, which is great. And as much as it sounds like it's an individual award, it is. It's great recognition, but it's also about what kind of contribution can I make to my team if I chase this? And that's what the great players do. The Hall of Fame players wanted to be Hall of Fame players. You know what I mean? The Mookie Betts wanted to be a Gold Glover last year. He became a finalist. So it's great to see this quote-unquote selfish attitude, which is great to have, because that's how great players become even better players, and they know the expectations, but they also work so hard to make sure that the next level is reached. And certainly we all enjoy when we see a guy take us to that next level by challenging himself and say, hey, I love this award. Hey, for how many years I heard Mike Trout say, I want to win a Gold Glove. And that's great. You put the expectation out there. If it happens, great. But nonetheless, you want fans and everybody that sign you and pay you all this money to know that this guy's not just settling for the money and everything he's done in his career. There's way more, and I can always tip my hat to somebody who stays hungry at this level.
Yeah, I love that point, Jose, because a lot of guys, it's like, maybe I'm a free agent, I'm trying to chase the bag, and that MVP, that Cy Young will help get that bag. All these guys are made men. They're all paid. Most of them are future Hall of Famers. They've been an all-star team. So for someone like Shohei, I think it does come from a pure place, knowing that, hey, the Cy Young means 25, 30 starts and probably a lot of games won, which means we have the 1 seed and home field advantage. It helps win a World Series. So I think that's a fantastic way that kind of tells you the kind of players that the Dodgers pursue in this organization. Got to put you on the spot, though, maybe.
Do it.
Is Shohei Ohtani your Cy Young pick, or are you going Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Paul Skeens? Of course, he's going to be the leader in the clubhouse until further notice. But do you have an NL Cy Young pick, Mr. Jose Mota?
If I have to pick one today, I'm going to pick Yoshinobu Yamamoto for the simple reason that he's been there before. He understands what 30 starts is like. He can carve through a lineup much easier. This will be Shohei's first full season in a long time, and I don't want to put the expectations on him. I want him to win it, but if anybody I have to pick, it's going to be Yoshinobu because, Mr. Samurai, he can go out there and just read lineups, go through lineups, start off slow. And we don't think clearly, keep an eye on this, Doug. When Yoshi does not walk more guys in the first 3 innings, it's going to be a good outing. If you look at his walks last year, I believe it was 59. Look at how many of those were in the first 3 innings, and they ended up being okay outings. But if he doesn't walk people early in those games, it's over pretty early, too.
Yeah, you're like, if I'm Yamamoto, I'm like, hey, Shohei, save some awards for the rest of us, right? Yeah, I mean, I would love to see that too, because he's made it clear he wants to win that award. I was joking with him during spring training and I was talking to his interpreter. I was like, he wants to win this Cy Young this year, doesn't he? And his interpreter goes, he wants to win the next 4. So that kind of shows you his mindset and his mentality. And here, Shohei, you can have the MVP as your consolation. But here's my thing, though, Jose. I've got Ohtani because physically, I think he can do it. He looks great. You mentioned all the velocity and everything he has. Shohei wins it this year. Yamamoto wins it next year. And then Paul Skeens wins it the year after that when he's a Dodger. Come on. That's the perfect 3-year Cy Young run, Jose. Yeah. Come on now. I'm dreaming.
Going deep right there. You are dreaming a little bit in terms of the other guy that's not a Dodger, right?
Yeah, of course not. But Jose, real quick, Shohei at the plate, 2 for 12. Probably by the time most people are watching this, he'll have hit 2 home runs tonight and had a couple extra base hits. But Doc said they're crowding him, not giving too many pitches to hit. He's still doing the right thing at the plate, taking his walks, moving guys over. But what have you seen from him offensively early?
They're being careful, which they need to be, obviously. But the one thing I like the most is the fact that he's waiting on the fastball to be a little bit late, which is great. When Shohei starts jumping is when things start going wrong for a longer time, a longer period. He is on fastballs, staying inside of them. He's taking his walks. And the main thing to me is he is not chasing. It's just a matter of time, a couple of mistakes. And before you know it, Shohei is being Shohei.
I love it. All right, Jose, last question here. Mookie said he wants to fill up his whole hand with rings. You're kind of catching up to him. Do you add another member to the World Series ring family this season? And if so, who did the Dodgers face in the World Series?
Well, I hear a lot of talk about the Yankees want to be part of it again. The Dodgers also need to get there. This team is primed to do it again. For the simple reason that they've done it before, and this team can really quickly forget what's gone wrong. As I mentioned, you talk about early August to, early July to late August. They're not very good, but they kept saying, we haven't even played the best baseball yet. Then came the integrations and the guys coming off the IL, Teoscar getting healthy, and before you know it, they went 15-5 to finish off the Padres. So in terms of the drive and the window, I would say that they're primed and ready and equipped to go out there and get it done, knowing that, of course, again, everybody's targeting them. They need to stay within focus, but that's one thing I never doubted this team or this group. I mean, what they've created inside, their chemistry and the drive and the focus from Dave Roberts as a leader is intact. And I look forward to seeing that happen. Not many teams have done it. Last team, obviously, everybody knows is the Yankees. But if you're that close, these guys really want it. And if it happens, they're going to go out there and do it the right way by playing good baseball at the very end, as they did against the Jays.
I love it. And I think it's great, too, to experience and enjoy the regular season, right? That's what makes it sweeter, is the road to another World Series, the road to a three-peat. Jose, thank you so much. We appreciate the time. Big night tonight. Shohei, you're going to get your Yoshi bobblehead, which I'm sure is going to be a great addition. It is big time. It is big time tonight. And, of course, you can follow Jose Mota on Twitter, on Instagram. Check out his stuff for the Dodgers YouTube channel, his More with Mota series. Got any ones lined up that you want to talk about?
I got one for you with Kirsten Watson. Well, we're talking about Kirsten, like if she was a ball player, what would her walk-up song be? Position she would play, and it's pretty cool. So I'm going to share that with you very soon, Doug.
I can't wait to see that. So yeah, Jose and Kirsten Watson. Also, you got to listen to him play-by-play with Luis Cruz. Do a fantastic job, AM 570. And then also you'll see him on Sportsnet throughout the season. Jose, the man of the people. You get so much love in the comments, and everyone wants to borrow that World Series ring. Maybe it can be yours, but I can just keep it at my house. Is that maybe we can work?
Love them all.
Yeah, let me
very special. Very special to me too. that I get to share this with my dad. Think about this. He's healthy and strong, and I get to share these with him. So he's very happy to get his ring himself, too.
Yeah, send our love to Manny Mota, Dodgers legend, of course, the Mota family, Dodgers royalty. By the way, can you be a Stan Kasten and wear that ring out? Like, don't put it in the vault somewhere. Don't take it to the bank. Like, wear that thing out and flex on him because, hey, man, you got to be shining, right?
Hey, that thing went to Japan with me. And let me tell you, man.
Really?
And the fans around Japan are like, oh, my God, that's a Shohei ring. I say, hey, I think Shohei already got the Rosamas every time for that ring. But quick story, the kid from Czechia that struck out Shohei, Sotoria, right? The pitcher, his father's walking around the stands and he sees the ring. He's like, oh, my God, can I wear that ring? Let me take a picture. So I go, here's the ring. Dude, I'm about an hour from going on air with Steven Nelson, and the ring gets stuck in his finger. I'm like, okay, is this ring going to go to Czechia right now? Or what am I
we better get some butter quick here.
So,
right? I'll chop that thing off.
The poor guy is like, what do I do? So he starts sweating profusely. And because of the sweat, he's able to pull it out and go, oh my God, here it is. So, I mean, I heard some comments like, well, are you going to bring home the ring or the finger? I'm like, wait a minute, time out. So it all worked out pretty fun. So, hey, for the fans, when they see me wearing a ring, I always say, you know what? You're part of it. Right there it says 4 million strong. You're part of it. Enjoy it too.
I love it. And Dodgers Nation loves to hear that. Jose, we know you got to go. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll catch up with you soon, my man.
Always a pleasure. Be good. Blessings.
There we go. The great Jose Mota dropping Dodgers knowledge like the best of them do. This guy is one of the great Dodgers ball knowers in the game. And so many interesting points about Roki, about Shohei Ohtani. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is, Shohei Ohtani is really primed, I think, put together what could be the definitive, defining Shohei Ohtani season with physically, mentally, where he's at in his career, knowing that, I want to stack World Series trophies, but I'm still winning unanimous MVPs. I'm still someone that can vie for a Cy Young Award. And by the sounds of it, he is still leveling up as a pitcher, and that should be scary for opposing hitters and opposing offenses and opposing managers. So it's going to be electric. Shohei Ohtani tonight at Dodgers Stadium. And when we come back, we'll talk some more Roki Sasaki. We'll talk about this Dodgers offense that has not been as consistent as we had hoped for the first 4 games. And also, we'll talk about this infamous Dodgers Cup that the Dodgers listen to the people. That's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live. Welcome to the Dodgers Nation Podcast Network, your front row seat to everything Dodgers all season long. Home of the #1 Dodgers podcast in the world, Dodgers Dugout Live, hosted by me, Doug McKain. Friends call me D-Mac, and we cover everything about your boys in blue, everything you need to know about Dodger baseball in less than an hour. We've got breaking news, post-game breakdowns, roster updates, trade rumors, in-depth player analysis, Dodgers trivia, you name it. Whether it's a wild walk-off at the Ravine, a key call-up from OKC, we've got the insight, we got the coverage, and we're here for you all year long. We're the #1 Dodgers site on every platform, and we're born and based in LA. We're loyal to the soil. Dodger baseball is what we do. Trusted by tens of thousands of daily listeners, Dodgers Nation is more than just recaps. We are LA. Whether you're in Echo Park or out in the Valley, Beverly Hills, whatever it is, if you bleed blue, this pod's for you. The more you guys subscribe, the bigger we can build, and we can do this together. So stay up to date with our Dodgers Nation post-game shows and breakdowns and podcasts. You can listen while you're lifting, while you're in traffic, or while pretending to answer work emails. We won't tell. Subscribe now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your baseball fix. So if you're a new listener or a longtime listener of the podcast, write us a review and we'll read it on the show. Join the conversation, stay ahead of the game, and never miss a pitch with the Dodgers Nation Podcast Network. And welcome back to Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. You guys like the new angles. The set's getting a lot of love. Great to see that. We've got some comments. We'll get into those in a little bit in the 7th inning stretch. Some quick injury news to get into. Dave Roberts did give a little bit of an update on Gavin Stone. He said that Gavin Stone resumed throwing this week. And this comes about 4 weeks after he was shut down in spring training with shoulder soreness. Doc said, I would say he's pre-spring training or right at the beginning, and that it's going to take some time. So you look at that comment saying that he's pre-spring training, that would tell you that buildup is going to take 4 or 5 weeks. So you're probably not going to see him at the earliest until May, maybe mid-May, maybe the end of May. Let's see if he suffers a setback. I mean, there's a world where we could see River Ryan before Gavin Stone. I think the 3 things you want to see from Gavin Stone is you want to see him be able to bounce back in those rehab starts. You want to see the velocity, 94, 95. You want to make sure the east-west stuff is playing up like it was when we last saw him. So, look, they're thinking big picture. There's a lot of stuff and moving parts when it comes to shoulder injuries. When they went in there, they found some other stuff as far as the scapula and how things were kind of rubbing against his shoulder in the capsule there. So they're going to slow play that to make sure that when he's back, he can really help this rotation. But it's good news for Gavin Stone. And then just getting back to Roki Sasaki. So we'll hear from Roki, because I think the really interesting thing about what he said after the game was he's very open. He's very honest. He said before his start, they didn't have a lot of confidence entering that first start of the season. And that makes sense because he had a rough spring training. He walked 15 batters. He allowed 15 earned runs in 8 2/3 innings of work. And he really struggled in his final tune-up outing against the Angels. He couldn't get an out after throwing 30 pitches, but I think the tone was set early on when he struck out Stephen Kwan looking. And he did eventually give up a hit in that first inning to Jose Ramirez through 21 pitches, but he was impressive. The second inning, he faced the minimum in a strikeout through just 13 pitches. And then the third inning, he gave that leadoff double to Austin Hedges, who's one of the worst hitters in Major League Baseball. And then Kwan, he gets the second, and that goes as a double. But hey, it was the 4th time we've seen this Dodgers rotation kind of put the offense behind the 8 ball a little bit. But I think even with the higher pitch count early on, it was the fact that he just kept attacking when he did. And he just didn't have that meltdown. And when he gave that leadoff single to Angel Martinez in the top of the 5th inning, his night was over, but it was a big step in the right direction. And I think last night, Roki Sasaki, he showed that, one, he deserved to be in the big leagues. And I know even myself included, I was starting to question, did he deserve the spot in the rotation over River Ryan based on those spring training results, based on how he looked last year as a starter? Well, the number one takeaway I'll look at from last night was the velocity's in a good spot. He hit 99.5 miles per hour. And with the ramp up that he's on, if he can stay upper 90s, and then maybe we could start to see those 101s and 102s with command, that's going to make that splitter virtually unhittable with that miles per hour differential there, going from 100 to 87. And the continued improvement of that gyro, slider, cutter, whatever they're calling it, it is a legitimate third pitch that he threw more than the splitter last night. And I think that this time last year, it would have been a very different inning for him where he would have come unglued. He would have gone unraveled, but he came back there. He struck out Jose Ramirez with that splitter, and then Kyle Manzardo's hard line out. That line drive ended the inning there in the 4th. So I was impressed. I look at the velocity. I look at the command. I look at the implementation of a new pitch. And I think that he's not as far away as he might think. And the more success that he does have and the less blowouts that he does have, the more he's going to feel like, hey, I can go out there and, just as Dalton Rushing told us after the game, have tunnel vision with himself and the catcher. So that was the big tell for me, was he felt comfortable with that. And I think that he knows that his ceiling is incredibly high and he has a lot of work to do, but you just didn't want to have his step in the wrong direction. I think last night he had his couple steps in the right direction. But here was Roki Sasaki after the game talking about his start, talking about where he was mentally and what he thinks he needs to do to improve.
Given the way the spring went, were you nervous about how tonight would go, or were you pretty confident that you could pitch better than you did during camp?
まあ自信はそんななかったですし、まあ正直僕が一番不安だったと思うんですけど、まあ自分ができることが限られているので、まあ、それことに集中してやろうと思って投げました。
I actually didn't have the confidence before this game starts, but I was just focusing on do what I can control.
How much were you able to sort of benefit from pitching in a real game as opposed to maybe in spring training, not really feeling the same intensity as a regular season you would have?
そのスプリングトレーニングでも同じような試合の強度とは、ならないと思うんですけど、今日の試合を通して実際の試合を通してその違いというか、実際のスプリングトレーニングとやっぱ強度とか変わってくると思うんですけど、実際の試合で今日実際の試合を通して何か見つけたものとか。
そうですね。今年入ってから、5回投げきれなかったですけど、一番いいピッチングができたので、そこの結果に対する自信というか、そういうものは一つの収穫かなと思ってます。
Well, I couldn't get through 5 innings, but result overall felt pretty good, so yeah, I kind of got confidence about that.
You've been able to execute this new pitch, your cutter/slider. How much more comfortable and confident are you feeling with that pitch now?
今のカットというかスライダーというか、今どれぐらい自信がありますか？
今日に関してはすごくキャッチャーのサインも多かったので、たくさん投げましたし、助けてもらった場面も多かったので良かったと思います。
Yeah, today I threw a lot of slider. Yeah, because it's catches goal, but yeah, it was really blocked.
Does this feel like more of a building block than maybe some of the other spring training items have been, just considering that you have results to build off of? Does it feel like a building block now as opposed to
and Roki, the velocity in high 90s, just how much more confident do you feel about your velocity and just assessing it this early in the season compared to last year?
今、球速結構上がってきてると思うんですけど、今の状態、去年とかに比べてどうですか？
そうですね、もちろんこのゾーンに攻めなきゃいけないので、まだある程度コントロールしている部分は強いので、球速に関してはなんていうんですかね、どんどん結果が良くなって、なんていうんですか、自信持って投げれてくればもっと出るのかなと思うので、なんていうんですか、1試合通して、強度変わらず投げることができたらなとは思ってます。
I'm actually still feeling things out, but my velo is kind of getting better. So just stay focused on pitch really well and make sure I'm in a good throw with good intensity.
See, that's why I have a lot of confidence. I asked about his velocity there, and he says he feels like it's getting better. And when your velocity is getting better, when you're throwing 99.5 as your topping out pitch, and he's averaging over 97, that's a full tick up from the 96 he averaged last year. That tells you that physically he's in a good place. And give the guy some credit, man. The guy's got grapefruits, man. I mean, to throw your cutter, a pitch you've never thrown at the big league level, more than your best pitch, which is your splitter, that tells you that he's showing a willingness to adjust. And there was that story that he wasn't susceptible to coaching and things like that. Not true. He clearly saw the adjustments that he made last year in spring training when he came back up and had success as a reliever. And then early on this season, he is embracing whatever they're telling him to do. And we saw it last night. So I think it was a major step in the right direction. I think he turned a corner. And if I had to grade his outing, I'm going to give it a B minus, all things considered, right? It's not a B minus start for Yamamoto or Blake Snell or Tyler Glass now, but where he is in his development, considering how he looked during spring training, give you 4+ innings, give a run. I think it was a major step. I predicted he would go 4 2/3, have 6 strikeouts and give him 2 runs. So, I mean, it was pretty close, and I think I'll take kind of where he was. So, yeah, the Roki of the year, probably not back on yet, but we're definitely not putting those shirts at 75% off. Okay, I'm just saying that right now. But some comments here. ADB, Roki Sasaki headed in the right direction. He did not resolve all of the problems, but said a building block for him to improve each time he comes into pitch. Keep it up, Roki. We got Ron Fig Jr. Robo was 1 pitch away from ending the threat last night. Overall, our pitching has been impressive, especially after sweating every game last season. Yeah, Robleski, he was so frustrated when he came out. You could see it on his face that he knew, man, like you said, 1 pitch away in his season debut. He had a quick 9-pitch inning there in the 6th. Then he loaded the bases with nobody out to begin the 7th inning. He did manage to get those 2 outs, but then he walked Hoskins to bring in that second run of the night for Cleveland. So, yeah, I mean, that is something you can't do. You don't want to walk the bases loaded, but the stuff looked really good. It was a blip. I still have a lot of comments that Robleski is going to be a guy that's going to be pivotal to this team because, as you saw last night, the fact is, yes, he did give up some runs. He did not execute that situation, but he has that swingman ability that really helps. And the fact that you can use him in those situations, it's a major luxury for Dave Roberts because then he doesn't have to burn through the bullpen. So really good to see him get 4 innings of work in, gave up 4 hits. The runs were there, but still, I think that Robo, the stuff is still very impressive for where he's at. And then kind of back to Roki a little bit. Let's listen to what Dalton Rushing had to say about his start yesterday.
Coming off the spring, the emphasis was getting the zone early and fill up the zone as much as possible to start, and then from there you just kind of get some swing and miss later it counts.
What do you see in the evolution of that cutter?
It's a newer pitch to him. It's a pitch we're still kind of trying to understand how we want to use it. I think he did a good job tonight of using it in the right spots. Obviously, we want one back on the right field line, but I thought he looked really good overall.
But just how important is it for him to even just be around the zone as opposed to moving to that non-competitive stuff from the spring?
Yeah, establishing the fastball early, I think, is pretty important. Landing the splitter would change a lot for him if he can land the splitter when he needs to, and then just kind of let it go. When he doesn't, he's going to get more swing and miss. But like I said, I thought it was a quality start for him. It was a very big step forward coming off spring, and I'm excited to see what he has for us. Yeah, I kind of talked to him briefly walking in from the bullpen and told him it was just me and him, just kind of tunnel vision to an extent, and trust what you do. You're a really good pitcher for a long time in Japan for a reason. You've been a great pitcher for us last year down the stretch. And yeah, any little piece of confidence you can put into a guy like that, he's still fairly young, so he doesn't have, I don't have as much time. We both are very young, but any way that I can help him build confidence on the mound, I think it's a big step forward, and we're going to build off this. We're going to sit down and talk tomorrow, obviously see what we could have done better, find some things, and look forward to having him out there next time.
Yeah, I mean, you hear it from Dalton Rushing right there. He had a lot of praise for him. I think it was really good to see him have a meaningful rep behind the dish too. You want to see him get his at-bats in. Dalton Rushing, certainly a player that they hope can play that role. He needs to get it going. This entire offense really needs to get it going. And yeah, I see some questions calling out the Dodgers offense, calling out the top of the order. We'll get into those next on the 7th inning stretch.
The 7th inning stretch.
This is from Joe Megazzini. D-Mac, what is wrong with this Dodgers offense? Are their best players washed? First of all, they're still on pace to win 100. I mean, 161-1 is still on the table. Okay, they started 3-1. It's not like this team is 0-4. I think that actually should be really an encouraging sign when you look at the fact that the players that they expect to hit have not hit, and the players that are on the bottom of the lineup have contributed. I think you look at last night's game in the 3rd inning, Miguel Rojas, bottom of the lineup, he gets a double, and then he gets picked off with Shohei Ohtani and Kyle Tucker ready to try to drive him home. That absolutely changed the complexion of that game. The Dodgers need to start getting some earlier offense. You don't want to be trailing and having to have a come-from-behind victory every single night, because that starts to take its toll on the offense and also on the pitching side. The starting rotation, the bullpen, always pitching in higher leverage situations. You do not want to do that. They need to step up and start contributing to the group project a little more often early. But if I told you that this Dodgers team was going to win 3 out of their first 4 games, you would probably say, wow, that's a pretty decent start. Shohei Ohtani, Freddie, and Mookie, and all those guys are probably balling out of control and putting up great numbers? Well, Freddie Freeman is 3 for 16, hitting 188. Mookie Betts is 3 for 15, hitting 200. Did have the big 3-run home run in the double. I think Mookie looks a lot better and stronger this season. Just missed a home run yesterday. Kyle Tucker is 3 for 15, hitting 200 with a 561 OPS. Teoscar, 2 for 14, hitting 143. Shohei, 2 for 12, hitting 167. So really, outside of Will Smith, who has the 1,000 OPS, had the big game-winning home run the other night on his bobblehead night, and outside of Miguel Rojas, who's 4 of 9, and Andy Pages, who's 4 for 14, really, most of this vaunted Dodgers offense hasn't found a rhythm at the plate. Well, guess what? That's going to change because these are great hitters, and it's inevitable. You're not going to see that change. That's going to happen. So I think it's only a matter of time. I wouldn't put too much stock into it. If I had to pick between the guys that are doing well right now versus not doing well, and who would do that sooner, I would probably take that. Like if I could take Alex Freeland and Andy Paz having some early success versus Shohei Ohtani and Kyle Tucker, two guys that we know are going to put together incredible offensive seasons for sure. Shohei and most likely Kyle Tucker and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. I would probably take the former than the latter. So I'm not too concerned about the offense. Let's give it some more time. Let's give it a larger sample size. But I mean, you look at this offense and you see the lack of success, and we saw that in the postseason. Well, I think that's another reason why you went out there and you got Kyle Tucker, because this offense clearly, if you just ran it back, they would have felt a little on the older side. It would have felt like you need to add something because of all the postseason games and the buildup and the attrition that comes with that. So ask me later. Ask me by the end of this week if they're struggling on offense and they're only putting together these late rallies, which they did yesterday. It was a little too late in yesterday's game. But here, even yesterday's game, you probably were starting to think maybe they do pull off a big comeback. Late yesterday, they rallied against Sean Armstrong. Bottom of the 7th inning, Teo and Pages both reached on singles. But Max Muncy, he struck out swinging to end the inning. And then Mookie Betts, he put the Dodgers on the board in the 9th inning with an RBI double. Freddie Freeman, he knocked Betts in with an RBI and a ground out, so doing the right thing. That cut the deficit down to 2, but it was too little too late. So they're still fighting. They're still competing. They're not giving away at-bats. And I think it's only a matter of time for this offense to explode. I'm more focused on the pitching side and how those guys look early. And I feel great about where the bullpen's at. I feel great about where Tanner Scott's at and how he looks early on. And I think last night, Roki Sasaki, and tonight, Shohei Ohtani. Okay, we got Dodger Dog 721. We talk like this is the best lineup in history, yet we always seem to get shut down. Look, before yesterday's game, they were averaging over 5 runs per game. They scored 8 runs in their opener. They've had some slug, but it hasn't been the explosion just yet. We've got the Ox experiment. The Yankees won 87 games in 2000, the year they three-peated. Not only that, they lost like 12 straight games down the stretch. I mean, it was a miserable end of a season for that 2000 Yankees team, but as you point out, they were able to win that title in that Subway Series against the worst dude ever, Mike Piazza. Cantankerous, our offense is struggling mightily. Of the big 3, Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman, the best batting average of them is hitting 200. That's how bad our big 3 are doing. You realize that one big night from all those guys and your batting average can flip, your OPS can flip, your weighted runs created plus can flip. We are 4 games into a 162-game season where the team is 3-1, mind you, and lost yesterday 4-2. When there were some positives that came out of that game. We got Delirium 9, I think rushing, currently has the highest batting average in the Dodgers. We got Don Davis, 4 games and 3 wins. We're on pace for 121 wins. Sammy Boy Smith, they won't let Show go more than 7 either way. I think it's more about efficiency and pitch count. I mean, he could go 90. Roki was going 90 yesterday, and he did side work. He has built up, and what I've been told about Shohei is that, hey, when he's in the rotation, you better treat him like he's in the rotation. Meaning, hey, if I can pitch 6, I'm going to pitch 6. okay? And they're not going to baby him, and they're going to take those kid gloves off that they had early in his starts last season because he's going all gas, no brakes as a pitcher this season. He wants to make 25-plus starts. He wants to compete for the Cy Young, and I think all of that is on the table. Delirium, I love how Teoscar challenged the ump via ABS last night. Some of those original calls were egregious. Yeah, it's so fun to watch the ABS. Teo told me he thought that Shohei was going to win the first ABS challenge, but some of them are close. Some of them are a little more egregious than others, but I think teams should get more challenges, by the way. 2 is not enough. And yes, if you win your challenge, then fine, but 2 is not enough. I mean, my feeling here is we are going to have multiple examples this season where it feels like teams ran out of challenges and you're going to miss an egregious call. So, I mean, give them 1 per inning. I don't care. Like, I really do not. Like, make it straight up tennis. Like, I need to see the right call. Get it right any way they possibly can. That's the most important thing. So, I'm here for that. It's my first takeaway on the ABS is 1, I love it. 2, I wish that Angel Hernandez was around to see this. The only right call he ever made in his career was to retire. And it's something that I think is going to help players like the Dodgers and teams like the Dodgers because their plate discipline, their pitch selection. But yeah, give them more challenges. What is happening here? First 30 games don't even matter. Not going to lie. From Garrett. Jose, love the camera views. Yeah, shout out to BDR, Big Dog Rob. There we go. Big Joe Smash, D-Mac, Freddie, Muncie off to a slow starts. We need their bats to get hot. BL Boyd, I have flashbacks to all August, September 2024. We heard that the Dodgers were going to do a deep dive on their horrific situation hitting. They won the World Series and all was forgiven. Same with 2025. Hey, look, good pitching beats good hitting, right? I mean, there's still a lot of clutch hitting and timely hitting, though, because everyone says, oh, the Dodgers only hit 200 in the World Series. They hit 203. That was the lowest batting average to the World Series since 1966. Sure. Did the batting average matter when Miguel Rojas hit a home run? Did the batting average matter when Will Smith hit a home run? Did the batting average matter when Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off home run? I mean, did the batting average matter when Shohei Ohtani reached base 9 times at a multi-home run game, right? I mean, the timely hitting beats the overall body of work of hitting any day of the week. So the Dodgers still won games because of their offense. And it was a heavy contributor. Just, consistently, hey, man, you got to tip your cap to the opposing pitcher, man. They were dogs too. What does Mookie say? Those guys drive Benzes too. They had some talented pitchers over there for sure. But that's why Kyle Tucker was a big must for me. Tanner Scott looked good yesterday from Claudia. He looks good. He looks great. I mean, he is much more confident in doing Tanner Scott things that we saw prior to joining the Dodgers, meaning that he can intentionally go off the plate and out of the zone now and see more results from that versus he was living in the zone, too high in the zone, and was getting teed off in. So, I think that, hey, Tanner Scott, like, embrace Tanner Scott. Like, I don't think I can think of a more recent Dodger that has not been embraced as much as Tanner Scott when, like I said, Tanner Scott, I think that Dodgers fans, once they really get to know him, when he has success, they're going to fall in love with the guy. Like I told you, I mean, I told Tanner Scott, I was like, hey, Freddie picked you when I asked him, which 2 Dodgers would you want to have your back in a bar fight? And his response to that was he took off his hat and he goes, yeah, because I'm a effing bald psycho, right? That's the mindset mentality I want from my higher leverage arm. So I'm feeling the Tanner Scott bounce back season. You can just see it. It's very early. It's extremely early. It's just a couple of appearances, some on low leverage situations, but still, I think that it's pretty clear that the way that he's using the different parts of the plate, he's just better. The slider's better. The fastball just going to different locations, less predictable. Give him credit. He did a lot. And to that fan that heckled Tanner Scott at FanFest, Tanner, we don't want you. Hope you eat a big bowl of crow and he proves you wrong. And I hope that Tanner will win you over. Allison, D-Mac, what are your predictions for tonight's game? Got the Dodgers winning, going big. Shohei homer. Shohei Let's go 6 with Shohei, 10 strikeouts. I got a double-digit strikeout game for Shohei Ohtani tonight. This stuff is crisp. The stuff looks good. The velocity's up. And like what Andrew Friedman said a couple of weeks ago, when Shohei puts his mind on something, special things happen. And he's not saying it outwardly as much as I think that he's feeling it. I think that this is going to be the defining Shohei Ohtani pitching season, and one where he wins the Cy Young. That's my pick. I'm sticking to it. And I think that he wants it. I think he's driving around town right now in his Porsche, just grinding his teeth, pissed that he hasn't hit a home run. And I think that he's going to hit a bomb, have a big night on the mound tonight. And by the way, it's Yoshi night, Yoshi bobblehead night, one of the most anticipated bobbleheads in Dodgers history. I saw the get-in price was over 175. Like, this is a big deal for people like myself, Nintendo people. I love this. By the way, for the record, it's not a saddle on his back. It's a red shell. Okay? Never forget that. I don't like when that's mistaken. But I think that this is in the conversation with greatest Dodgers bobbleheads. I mean, I really do. I mean, it'd be one thing if it was just a Yoshi. It'd be one thing if it was just that. But the fact that it's Yoshinobu Yamamoto plus that, I think it takes it over the top. I really do. I think that the Kobe one is up there. I think you got to probably go with the Ohtani decoy one. The gold Ohtani is certainly up there. That's elite. But I can't wait to see this in person. This thing is the real deal. I mean, on eBay, they're going for hundreds of dollars. So that is going to be tonight. Do a couple more. We'll find a comment of the show. Paris Beach, so excited for the Tower Buzzers season starting on Thursday. Can't wait to go to a game. Dusty Willis, ayo, for Roki having a good outing. Give you a little fire take there. Ayo, too bad it was a loss. But hey, can't win. History, this team has what it takes to three-peat in 2026. Andy Chen, we need a game where we win it start to finish. No more come from behind games. I'm here for that. Steven, I get flashbacks of last year's offense. Carrera, unless you mess with the Angels, you really haven't seen Ohtani in his peak pitching form. It is a sight to behold. And 1 minute later, Teo 3-run bomb the opposite side. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I caught a lot of Angels games when Ohtani was there. And that 2022 season, it was must-see TV. So I definitely want to see that tonight. We got J.Y. Kim. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right, guys, we are running out of time. So let's get to the walk-off.
The walk-off.
All right, today for the walk-off, we're going to talk about this controversial Dodgers Cup that had fans in a tizzy on opening day. And you see this cup. It's a Dodgers Shohei Ohtani Cup. You got 17 on the front, 17 on the back, the Ohtani jersey cup. You got the belt there. You got the jersey. This is an extremely good-looking cup. This is an elite cup. This is the Shohei Ohtani of cups. But fans had an issue with the price because it was first $74.99, and that included free refills for the one game you're at. And for a lot of people, that wasn't going to give you value. For someone like myself that would have filled that with like 15 refills of Coke Zeros, then I could just take a bath in it, that would have been fine. But for most people, you're not doing 2, 3, 4 refills. And at $75, yes, you get to keep the cool cup, but it didn't make a lot of sense for them. So fans were in an uproar, and the Dodgers, being the organization that they are, one that listens to the fan base, they changed the price. They dropped it from $75 to $68.99. And more importantly, you get free refills, not just for the game, but for the entire season. So this went from a ridiculously priced cup to one of the best values in stadium food history. I did the math. If you're looking at $12 for a soda, a large, a souvenir cup soda, then you get 2 or 3, it's starting to add up. But let's say you just get 2, $12 a pop, you're looking at 10 games, that's already $240+ for $68.99. You could round it to 69. Bruh. But I mean, you got to round it. But like, yeah, the fact that you're doing that, maybe you could have it 50-50, $50.50 for 50-50 would have been cool. I mean, I get it. Yes, I hear this stuff. It's $75, but you can defer the payments until 2043, so it'll be cheap. No, this is a great deal. This is the Shohei Ohtani of sports stadium food and beverage level value of a deal. What Shohei Ohtani is to sports contracts, as far as the deferred money, how much he gives you in revenue, what he means to the team as a player, Shohei Ohtani is the best value superstar free agent contract of all time. I think now you can make the case that this Ohtani Cup is the best value that we've ever seen from a stadium food or beverage item. The only thing that to me is the annoying thing about it is you got to clean it and bring it back. Do you get a new straw? I don't know. Ava, you did a report on this, right? What are your thoughts on going from 75? It's gone from like a little high. I think for the price alone, it's a cool cup, but because it does like the wrinkles of the jersey, but now it's turned into like one of the great values ever, right?
I think the fact that you can get free refills the entire season is a game changer. And I know Dodger tickets are expensive, but if you're a season ticket holder or some fans out there already go to 5-6 games a year, if you bring it, you get one soda, it makes sense.
Exactly. No doubt about it. I mean, what would you fill it up with?
I like Coke Zero too.
Yeah,
I like Coke Zero more
there you go.
than Coke. Hot take, I don't know, but I'm getting some thumbs down across the office. But I would fill mine up with Coke Zero.
Oh yeah,
I would enjoy it.
I think water all around the world. Like if they replace the ocean water with Coke Zero, like I'd be here for that. Like that swimming pools of Coke Zero. Like yeah, like Coke Zero running through my veins. But yeah, I agree with you, man. It's a great value. And I think it's a really cool cup. I think, too, this is great marketing. I think at this point, everyone's talked about the cup. I would like to see more cups.
I saw some comments that on the reel I made explaining that a woman said she was in line to buy it, and they sold out. So regardless how people feel, there are people that are buying them.
So that's the thing, too. And I think now that people want it because it's such a unique-looking cup, I want to see more players, though. Like, can we get a Kyle Tucker one? Can we get a Freddie Freeman one? Can we get a Mookie Betts one? I mean, might as well do the entire series. So, I mean, of course, everyone's going to want the Ohtani, but yeah, I mean, for $68.99, this is a great deal. I'm going to try to pick one up today. Like, are they still available? Like sold out?
I think they're planning on having them the rest of the season, so they might be on back order, but I don't know. But I think they'll have them eventually.
Yeah, no, I got to get another one of these cups. How about you, BDR? What do you put in your cup?
Man, I got to put some of that Jim Beam up in there. Can we do that?
Jim Beam? This is a family show.
That might run you like $150.
No, so that's what they should. So they need a gold version of this, just like the gold version of the bobbleheads. But the gold version is $1,000. It's $1,017, and you get to fill it with beer. Like, think about that. Like, guys I think people would pay for that.
What, $20?
$1,000. $1,000. It's the gold Ohtani cup, and you get unlimited beers the whole season up until, of course, like the 7th inning. $1,000. Hear me out, Lon Rose and the Dodgers. Let's get this paper, and then we can do maybe $1,500 for BDR's Jim Beam one, right? 41 beers. That could work. Yeah, you could have you could do a shot glass too. But yeah.
Oh, $24.
Look, someone in the comments says, yes, $1,000 for, I mean, it's already what, $800 anyway for a beer there, right? What's an extra $200?
Basically.
We got Mr. Classic. D-Mac drinks all one time, then Noel takes the cup and gets something. What? Okay. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. Special thanks. Look, someone's in. Ron Fig, 500. 500 and he's in. 500 and he's in.
That's a great deal right there. I mean,
500?
Yeah.
I'm running to that deal.
With beer the rest of the season?
Got to be 1,000. Got to be 1,000. We'll work it out. 750. I'm not against it. Not against it. All right. See you guys tomorrow. See you at the game. Shohei Ohtani tonight. We'll do a post-game show live from Dodgers Stadium. So see you guys in a little bit. And you can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Definitely subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Drop a like. Special thanks to Jose Mota for joining the show. He's the best. And remember that nothing, absolutely nothing, brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. Until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.